What's up, sports design fam? Mike with Sports Templates back at it again, and today I'm going to show you how to turn this Photoshop cycling uniform template into this awesome Livestrong design. Let's get into it, but before we do, I want to give you a minute to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. So if you want to follow along, there's a link to the design assets used in this tutorial down below. Go ahead and grab that if you need it. And before we get into actually designing this specific uniform, I want to show you everything that you get with this template. Okay, so you've already seen the front view that you get, but you also get a back view and you get a side view, kind of a angled, not quite 3/4, but somewhere in there. So 3 different views come with this template, and you can customize everything about it. We're going to get into all the details of what you can do. You can do the helmet, the sunglasses, you can even do the strap that is hanging from the sunglasses, the jersey, the gloves, the shorts, the socks, and the shoes, and then of course the background. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and just make this image a little bit smaller so we can refer to it as we go. And let's just start, we'll start from the top down on this one. So if we get into the template, we can see here we've got a glasses editable parts folder. So let's go with the glasses. So there's a couple cool things on here, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to hit Control+ on my keyboard a few times to zoom in. I'm going to hold the space bar to turn my cursor into the little grabby hand, and I'm going to move that. So you can see on the glasses we're trying to create here, we've got a dark colored frame, looks like a yellow band with some dark colored hardware, and then kind of a black and yellow gradient going on the lenses. So one of my favorite parts about this template is the ability to customize the glasses. So you can do the frame color. I'm just going to choose this black color that we have in our library. It's not pure black because that would just be too black. So it's a little bit lighter. And then the glasses color, let's just pretend we wanted them to be yellow. Right? We can do that, and that looks fine, right? It's got some nice reflections on it. But we want to take it a step further. We've got this cool gradient color where we can turn that on, and if we double click into there and then click here, we can start to kind of play with all the gradient colors. So I'm just going to click one at a time and kind of just mess around. So there's how you kind of customize the glasses. So let's get into then the next part is the helmet strap. So the strap that kind of holds the helmet on. So what I like to do is, these are all shape layers, so when you click on one of them and you choose a color, it's going to change the color for that particular part. What I like to do is just choose them all and kind of set a base color. Let's just say I'm going to make them all yellow. And so this is the main sort of strap. All the rest are the different hardware parts, right? A lot of different clips and adjusters on there. So I'm going to just choose all of those, and I'm going to choose this black color. And so now what we can see, if I do Control-H, it will hide my selector around there. At least it should. So now you can see we've got a yellow strap and black hardware. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see it. Okay, see all the detail there. So that looks great. I'll go ahead and collapse that folder, and then I'm going to work on the helmet. And the helmet is insanely detailed. There's so much on here, right? Every little section you can think of, you can change. So if you click on any one of them, it'll sort of show you, right? It'll put path lines around the area that that particular one is controlling. And there's actually 20 sections plus overall color. So what I like to do for this, and I'm not going to try to match our reference image exactly, but I'll just try to do something similar. I like to choose them all, and again, just choose a base color. In this case, let's do yellow. And it's going to change all of those sections to that color, and it'll take a little longer to actually show it if you're zoomed in as far as I am, just because it's causing the machine to work a little bit harder. But so now you can see we changed the whole helmet to yellow, and then we can just kind of go through and start picking the different parts that we want to change. And if you change something and you don't like it, you can try a different color. You can change it back to the color you had it, right? So whatever you want to do. That's as much as I'll change for now, but you can see how much you can customize in here. So play with it and come up with something you love. Now we'll get into the actual suit. Jersey, and start looking around in here. We've got smart objects for all the different areas where you can do a custom design. I'm going to turn all those off for now. And let's just start with our base color. I'm going to set the base color to yellow on this whole thing. I'm just going to select all the layers and hit the yellow. Okay, and it looks like my zipper, so my zipper needs to be black. I'll show you how to change all the rest of the stuff in a moment to make it look even more like it. The zipper end color, which is this little part down here, I'm going to also make that black. And then the zipper pool color is kind of a silverish color, which I actually don't think I put in this library. So I'm gonna double click that, and I'm just gonna get over here into kind of the black white area, and you see if I slide this around here I can come up with a color that I like. So I'm gonna get somewhere in there for kind of a silver look. And now let's get into all the different parts. So I like to start with the main front of the jersey, so the torso design. So I'm gonna turn that on, and I'm going to double click into that smart object, and I've got these different design assets here in the library. So I'm going to start by just dragging out this Livestrong logo, and that looks actually right about where I need it to be placed. I'm going to turn off the grid, and if we go out here real quick and we look, right, the Livestrong logo's here, and then there's a little bit more black right on that side. The black kind of extends past the zipper. So if I just, I can just duplicate this layer because I like to leave my main background layer alone. I'm going to change that to black. I'm going to grab this here and click, and I'm going to hold the shift key and just drag this over. And so I'm going to just assume the midline is like right on the zipper, and I'm just going to move it a little more this way. And I'm going to hit Control or Command S to save that, and I'm just going to see how that came out. And look at that, it's pretty much perfect, right? So that looks great. So I'm going to leave that. I still need to add my swoosh, so I've got that here in the design library as well. I'm just going to drag that out. Okay, that looks good. I'm happy with that. So I'll go ahead and close that out, and let's look at the rest of the jersey. So I've got to do the sleeves, right? So let's get to this sleeve because it needs to be black. So let's turn on the left sleeve design and click into there. We'll make the background color our black, and let's just grab our yellow Livestrong logo. Drop that in, and I'm going to just hold down the Alt key to kind of bring this in from all sides, make it a little bit smaller. Turn off my grid and Control or Command S and kind of see where we came out. Okay, so as we can see, that's not at all in the right spot, right? So if we look at our smart object here, we're kind of right in the center, right? And if we look here, I guess we're kind of right in the center of the sleeve. So we need to bring it down and move it to the right a little bit. So let's bring it way down here, and then let's move it over here and kind of let it snap. You see that purple line showing up there? We're going to let it snap so that the center line of our graphic is right on the edge of our canvas. Turn off the grid, Control Command S to see where we came out. Okay, and that's much better. That's kind of right where we want it. And now let's look at the sleeve, the cuff. We need to make the cuff yellow. So if we go to left sleeve band color, we can make that yellow. And that may tell us something about the alignment of our logo as well. So the reason we're not seeing the yellow is we've got the background on here. And this is good to have on when you're doing your design so you can kind of see what you're doing, right? And sometimes it's fine to leave on, but other times it's going to cover certain things up depending on what you're trying to do, because this sleeve design actually extends down over the cuff. So if you wanted to have a design that kind of worked its way onto the cuff. So we're going to turn that off and hit Control Command S. Okay, and now we can see our yellow cuff, but we can also see, and let's just zoom in here, We can also see that our Livestrong is a little bit too low, right? So let's just move it up. I'm going to hold the Shift key as I move this up so that it doesn't really move left or right. It only moves the direction I sort of initially drag it. Control Command S to see. Okay, and that looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and then go to my other sleeve design. Right, so now we have our jersey design, and if you zoom in, you can really see all the details of everything, right? You can see all the teeth of the zipper, all the kind of metallic looking highlights there, the texture of the fabric, right? The seams where the stitches would be. You can see so much detail. That's what I love about these templates. They're just incredibly detailed. You can see the shine of all the fabric and all the shadows. It's just pretty awesome. Okay, let's move down to the shorts, and actually let's look at our reference image. So black shorts, got some yellow striping, yellow Livestrong logos. So let's do the shorts. I'm going to zoom out just a little by hitting Control or Command and the minus key. And let's go ahead and collapse the jersey folder and get into the shorts folder. So again, I'm just going to select all these layers and I'm going to turn them black. And you're not going to see all of that yet because the design layer is still on, but you can see black base is what we need. Now let's take these knee colors, is kind of where the cuffs, where the knee would be, and make those yellow. Can't see it again yet because these are on, but starting to make some sense, right? So we've got a lot of different shapes within the shorts that we can change. The stripe here, these stripes, I'll change that one to yellow, change that one to yellow. You can change the outer hip color if you want to, right? I'm gonna go ahead and change that back to black. We already looked at the knees. These stripes here you can change, so let's make those yellow, just for fun. You can change this part in here, in the, for lack of a better word, the crotch area. The inner part of the leg you can change, right? So we're gonna leave all those now, and we're just gonna focus on getting our designs in here. Okay, and if we look at our reference image, pretty much everything is black. I guess those parts weren't yellow, but that's okay. Everything's black with the Livestrong logos running vertically on the sides. So let's get into this one, the right leg. We'll come up here and we'll grab our yellow Livestrong and we'll just drop it there. That looks good. This one I'm going to make the background black just so I can see a little better. And you can leave it on since everything else on the shorts is black anyway, or you could turn it off, it doesn't really matter. Control or Command S and kind of see where we came out. Okay, that looks great. So now I need to do the other leg. And then I'm going to move my cursor until I get this little arced arrow, and I'm going to click. I'm going to hold the Shift key, and that's going to allow me to rotate in 15-degree increments, right? If I'm not holding the Shift key, it's kind of free and you can do whatever you want to do. If I'm holding the Shift key, it'll snap every 15 degrees. The other thing you can do is you can just start to rotate it, and then you can come up here to the angle and you can just type whatever you want. So I wanted a 180-degree rotation, so I just type 180 in there. Control or Command S. Okay, that looks good. So we got our shorts. So I'm going to zoom out, all the way out, using Command 0. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I've got the black background turned on in here, and I don't want that because I forgot that I want yellow cuffs. So you can see if I turn that off and then save my smart object, the yellow cuffs can now be seen on the shorts. Okay, let's get into our gloves. I'm going to zoom back in so you can see our gloves a little closer. And just like everything else, the gloves have a lot of different areas that you can manipulate. So I'm going to turn off the design layers for now. And if we get into the right glove, we can see all these different shapes in here that can be edited. I'm just going to go ahead and set this to black, everything black for the background. And let's go into the right glove design. I'm going to turn that on. And if we look at our reference image, we've got some white pattern on there and then like a Nike swoosh. So let's go ahead and make the background black. We've got a swoosh in here. Just drop that in. It went in under our grid because I was on the other layer. Now the swoosh, we need a different color. I'll right click and rasterize it. I'm going to choose color overlay. And this white that we have is fine. It's not a pure white. This is the same white from the library here. So that's good for the swoosh. And then I also want to drag my stripes in. Actually, no, I think we want the swoosh to be yellow, now that I think about it. So let's choose our yellow color to set our foreground color to yellow. Double click on that and just choose that color. Now I want our stripes to come in underneath the swoosh. So if I'm on the swoosh layer and I drag those in, it's going to be on top. So I want to go to the background layer, drag in the stripes, and then I'm just going to resize them. So I'm holding the Alt key and just kind of dragging these out so they kind of expand from the center, and you can kind of place them wherever you want. Something like that seems fine to me. I'm going to hit Control or Command S. And let's go back to our, so there we go. We've got the swoosh and the pattern, and then let's just make some other parts yellow. Let's say this trim part, we'll make that yellow. Some of the inner kind of finger areas we'll make yellow. That's kind of the main part of the, so in here in between the fingers we'll make that yellow. We'll make this part yellow. And how about like the whole palm of the glove? Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's just do the same thing on the other side. And then the last thing to do to finish this off before we get into the background is the socks and shoes. Okay, so if we look at our reference image, we've got black socks with white stripes and yellow swoosh, just like we had on the gloves. So if we get into the boots and socks folder, we've got shoes and then socks are down here. So let's select both of our sock colors and make them black. I selected these even though they're not next to each other. If you hold the Control or Command key and click different layers, you can select them independently, so or group them together. So I chose those and I made those black. Now let's get into our sock design, and we just need a swoosh, and you won't see it because it's coming in behind our grid. And I'm going to just make that a little bit smaller, maybe a little bigger than that. Drop it somewhere like that. We can turn off our background, but I need to make that swoosh yellow. I don't want the background to be yellow. I didn't mean to do that. I need to make the swoosh yellow, so I'm going to do that. Click the yellow to make it my foreground color. I'm going to double click, and I can go to color overlay, choose yellow, and there we have it. Now again, I'm going to click on my background layer, and I'm going to drag my stripes in. And then again, I'm just going to hold the Alt key, kind of make that a little bigger, and kind of line them up, wherever I think looks good. Control Command S. And there we go. So now let's just do the same on the other sock. And if you zoom in, we're already pretty zoomed in, but if you zoom in, you can see all the texture on the socks, right? It's awesome. All right, let's look at the reference image again. I'm just dragging. Black shoes with some yellow accents on them. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard. So I'm going to zoom out just a little, Control or Command and the minus key. And let's get into our left and right shoe area. So again, I'm just going to take all of these. There's a lot of shapes within there, and I'm going to set them to black. Okay. on the left and the right shoe. I'll just set them all to black. Okay, and we're not going to have a shoe design on this one. We do have smart objects. If you wanted to place a design that sort of, you know, wraps around the shoe or whatever, you can do that. Place some logos, whatever you want to do. But for this one, we're just going to change a couple things to, you know, give them some different colors in some of the different sections. So we'll change the laces to yellow. We'll change this lace retainer, kind of a little button thing, to yellow. The tongue we'll just leave. Make this yellow. We'll leave the nose black. This is kind of the soft foam liner that goes around the inside of the shoe. We'll leave that black. We'll leave that strap black. So you can see all the different parts here. Let's do the lace eyelet holder things, make those yellow. And we'll make this back part here yellow. You can also change the color underneath, right? But we're gonna leave it black so we have some cool contrast there. And I think that looks good. So let's just do the same on the other shoe. And so you can see on the shoes all the texture that you would see like on a real shoe, right? Looks like leather texture there. Got the holes for the ventilation. It's awesome. So I'm gonna hit Control-Command-0 to zoom all the way out, and that looks great for our design. The only thing we have left to do is our background. So if we go to the Color Splash background folder, we can set our background color, and we want to get some nice contrast here, right? Let's say we choose yellow, right? That's just super bright, and it kind of just takes a little bit of your focus away from the actual uniform. So let's just lighten it up a bit, right? So we chose our base color. Now if we double click in there, we can kind of get over into this neighborhood here, right? Where we have kind of a yellow tint, but it's not too bright, right? It's kind of more in the white gray area. So it complements your design, but it doesn't you know, distract you too much or throw too much light out there and kind of take away from your design. So I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and hide our reference image real quick. And if you wanted to, you can also change the text, right? So we have this text background. Maybe you wanted it to say something else. Let's just say bike forever, right? And you can resize this stuff if you want to. I just did Control-A, Control-Command-A to select it all, and you can, you know, drag this text size down if you want to. You can change the font. So anything that you might want to do, you know, to put behind your design, or you can just turn it off, right? Maybe you don't want any text. And you just kind of move that down. And we also have up here the text Sports Template Presents, down here Photoshop Mockup. So those are all editable. You can change all that stuff. So that's how quick and easy it is to use this template to create a cool design. Lots of different things you can do to make your design just look awesome, and you can really play with it. And one of the coolest things you can do is the dynamic lighting. So let's say you have some different lighting for your scene, and you want to, you know, add some more drama or just kind of make it match a different setting. You can change the lighting on these. So you can go into the effects. You can do dynamic lighting, and you can see it just changed a little bit there when I turned it on. But you can go in there and you can just slide this around. So again, let's bring a lot of light in from the right. We'll close that. And now you can see just a really, really dramatic light coming in from the right. Right? And I'll zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Right, so maybe you have an outdoor scene, or you just got something going on where you want a lot of light coming in from that side. You can see how it hits the whole suit, hits the shoes, hits the shorts, everything, and you can customize that however you like to. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and maybe learned a couple things along the way. If you want to design some awesome cycling suits, you can grab this template and others over at sportstemplates.net. Until next time, thanks for watching and have fun with your designs. See you next time.